Hey everyone, welcome back to the Archangel 15. We're coming down to the wire. One more presentation left. This is really the last one. Number 15 is going to be final thoughts, where I kind of have a conglomeration of many various topics that didn't fit into other presentations and just things that I felt compelled to cover. As with all my presentations, please view them in sequential order. This is part 14, video 1. It'll probably be one, maybe two parts, not quite sure yet. I want to start this presentation with two questions. One is an age-old one. Why are we here? I mentioned in the beginning, in my segue to this whole thing, that I was going to kind of get into this. And the second question is, do you honestly think that S&P 500 companies need or want your money for investment? We'll kind of get into covering both of them as we go through this. But there's this illusion in America and pretty much all other places around the world of a capitalistic democracy, and that even like small microcap companies are not controlled by huge conglomerates. Personally, I see like states like California as much of the issue and much of the cancer of the earth. I don't really mean to be pessimistic about that. There's some absolutely great minds and great people there, and like really forward thinking in a lot of things. And people are going to stop me and say, oh, well, what do you want, Trump? Would you rather have Trump to win? But it's like part of this whole bipartisan illusion that exists. Like we're like, we have to accept, this crazy radical left to keep the balance of the insane conservative right. And like the truth is that if there ever was a polarizing figure that was like somewhere in between balance, not playing this whole bipartisan divide and conquer game, they would either kill him, suppress him, or never let him get off the ground. That's kind of where I come in, and there's many other people besides me as well that have had this happen to them. I really see the people in California as majorly disconnected from reality. The level of like greed that is basically implied into inheritance and other things there. And I found them really to be shills. There's this like notion that they're like progressive and really big into like green energy and all this stuff. But the truth is you could take at any given time, you could take any random California university, we'll say any California university, and they could come out and paint the real picture about BS companies like Tesla and all the lies that that we really can do much better, and that there really is free energy ideas, and there's like not only one or two ways to do it, but probably like 20 ways to do it. And I told you before, I had a little experiment that I did on my own, creating a field with two cell phones. When you go to Russia or China or other countries, some countries you're not able to use your own phones, or it's very difficult to, and you have to you're better off just purchasing one or trying to get a card. And if in phones, there's magnets in the speakers. And I was able to actually keep a phone. It wasn't like a smartphone. It was like a cheap old pocket phone. And I was actually able to keep it going for 2 months approximately without charging the battery. Very interesting there. It really just gets to be defeating, when you see what's going on with everything in the world. But the greed has manifested, and created a weak culture of people immersed in this ill-fated logic, with nothing of substance other than making it their mission statement to basically promote this antagonistic agenda of feminism, homosexuality, race mixing, and basically all while running our economy into the ground with these useless tech companies that create a horrible cancer causing, they decrease our fertility, create ADD, ADHD, electropollution, and ultimately the downfall of our youth. And if you think this is an overstatement, just go on any random bus, go on any metro, go any street, and take 10 people and look at how many, at least 5 to 7 of them are going to be on their phones constantly. It's almost like a mark of the beast of sorts. But globalism is not the answer. I've traveled to various Scandinavian countries, Sweden, Denmark, Gulf of Finland region, and I can tell you that I absolutely am in love with Denmark. The Danish people are amazing, and will help you if you need it. And their minimum wage is approximately $18 US last time I checked. There's absolutely no crime, and people literally leave their kids in strollers outside of a store. I mean, this is like no joke. And I mean, every single person there rides bikes. They're one of the only countries, like I said, that wants to actually do away with fossil fuels, and within like 2-3 years. And I think gasoline's almost like $11 a gallon there. It's very expensive for taxis. Like to take a taxi from the airport into like downtown, which really isn't that far. It's like $100, the U.S. equivalent. Check out my videos on Denmark, but very, very classy and beautiful people. I was not allowed to take videos in Freetown. There's like this little 6-hectare parcel that's basically like grandfathered into this, like it's almost like a commune of sorts, where they have like an open air like marijuana, no, not drug market, but like just an open, like it's like an open air hippie community basically. They have their weed they sell. They have like other arts and crafts they sell. They have this I think a bar there is called Woodstock or something like that. Really cool. I was there like 5 in the morning. Like just everybody's sitting around, just rolling up, smoking, just drinking, good times, and it's just the people there are, like I said, just on like a whole other level of consciousness compared to what we have here, and like the big thing that I noticed is that like chains are not big there either. Like they don't have this whole concept of globalism. Like yeah, they have McDonald's, yeah, they have some chains there, but like they don't, like it's all independently owned, and like that really is the answer, ladies and gentlemen, is to like not allow corporations to get too big, because it allows too much power and money in the hands of like a select few group of people, and eventually it gets all bought up and conglomerated and owned by like the same people, rather than having like a sustaining economy on a microeconomic level. And search like really, if you want to know, like search the biggest middle class in the world, and you'll see. I mean, it depends. There's like different ways of measuring, like per capita or gross or whatever. But in my opinion, Denmark, has the biggest middle class in the world. Australia is another economy that's close to it. But like that's, I think what really drew me there is just the fact that it has this major egalitarian approach. I mentioned in the previous videos that people often take me, they say, yeah, he's probably a socialist or communist. And that's like what the rich people say. Like that's like their little rebuttal to like, to this philosophy of like egalitarianism. Is like, oh, let's just call him a socialist or a communist, and then he'll be labeled as that, and he's a Bernie Sanders. But like the truth is the egalitarian aspect is the right answer. Like, instead of having this extreme rich and extreme poor, have like a big middle where everybody's happy and like everybody's consciousness is raised. I have another friend from China that I met there, and like I think like China is almost like ready to embrace this as well, moving forward. I look forward to meeting my buddy when I go to Shanghai, him and his wife, and I want to continue my travels, and everywhere you go, it broadens your worldview. I can tell you that like this BS we had with Trump and these $14 an hour jobs, they were not the answer. Like what are you gonna do with a $14 an hour job? I've had other things I've talked about with Walmart before. Like almost 80% of their employees are like basically live below the poverty level. And that's not the answer. They're the biggest employer in the country as well. The second one is like the federal government. And so I'm a huge, proponent of the egalitarian view for economic status. And the nightlife, I must say, as well there is amazing. And I never thought I would find a country that, like I said, hated big oil as much as I did, and they take it really, really personal. Just look at my video on the bikes there, and it's awesome. The bikes are really cool. They're not like the bikes here, like because they ride them in like the winter. Literally, I mean, they have absolutely beautiful, beautiful blonde hair, blue-eyed woman riding bikes in the middle of night, in the middle of January, in their pantyhose through rain and snow, and like. They're like me. They're not big into the helmet thing here. Like here, everybody's, you got to have a helmet. Like because they're like born riding bikes there. It's like you don't even see that many people using helmets. It's like second nature to them. And like they have these special bikes that have like it's like almost like a Sturmey Archer hub on the back. Like the cogs are like basically embedded into the axle, so like the salt water or from the road salt doesn't corrode them. They also have other like basically social welfare programs. Big one is like literally like for like plastic bottles you get like 50 cents. For cans you get like 25 cents. And like any of them, and like I mean, like you can just go through the streets on a random night with a bag and just pick up tons. And like I was actually living for free in a hostel there, and I mean it was pretty amazing. And Queen Margaret II deserves like a lifetime achievement award in my opinion for how country her or how amazing her country is ran. The Danish kroner, there's like 6 different ways you can say it, is one of the strongest currencies in the world. Actually, stronger than the British pound. Like one of the, like I said, totally just an amazing like strength to it, like resiliency. It's personally my favorite currency, and the coins are worth a lot. They're really cool looking coins. They have these holes punched through them. And the one downfall there, I will say, is everything is very expensive. You know, because everybody makes so much money. You know, like you'll go like to go out to like a McDonald's like for a value meal, it's like $25-$30 for a value meal. But like everybody makes so much money that they don't really care, and you know it's not a big deal. You know, there's probably a way to like equalize this, you know, moving forward. But I would love to see, you know, America embrace this type of approach. You know, obviously like, there's like broader ramifications if every single country just increased their middle class in this world. And like there would be broader implications and ramifications if like we just went under one currency as well. When you have currencies like look at the Kazakhstan tenge, which is actually right where I went after I went to Denmark, and like look up like I said like like a Danish kroner, and it's pretty amazing. Like if you were looking to move to one, like if you had a lot of money, you'd be better off going to a country where the dollar went very very far. But if you didn't have a lot of money, it's almost like you'd be better off going where like there's a lot of money to begin with. Like it's almost like if you ever saw the movie Tombstone, one of my personal favorites. Like they get like this town of Tombstones, like this boom town, like you know, a mining town. That's kind of what Denmark reminded me of. Just like that type of atmosphere and environment there. Real like just free like minded people. On a side note, they say that I never had any luck with the girls there, but they say that the Danish women are like the most likely to sleep with you on the first date. A beautiful, beautiful woman, and like just to talk about genetics, real serious genetics. Like every single one of them is like a quality woman. Like you would, like every single one of them rides their bike in the middle of winter, not even thinking twice about it. Where like if you went down to Washington D.C., you wouldn't see us. Like you may see one or two, and it would, like people would be looking at them like, damn, you know, what's this girl doing? So Norway is another independently rich country, and the people there have, like I said, like a large amount of wealth, and they fly their flag with an immense amount of pride. It's one thing I've noticed about these countries. Like they actually wear their flags on their shirts or their hats or their gloves or their coat or whatever, and it's like they fly it with pride, and it's like a esprit de corps. Like they like to, it's like this love to belong to their country, where like you know that's what America wants, but it doesn't have because it's so divided from within by these elites. And it's like it's so baffling for me to see this and to like just know what the right answer is and to know who the problem is. And you know, will it ever be fixed? Probably not in our lifetime. It'll probably end not so well for humanity. But I fight the good fight, and I try to bring you the truth as I see it, and like you know, like from real life experience as well. Definitely, if you ever get a chance to visit Denmark, I highly recommend you go there. Absolutely beautiful architecture, and the Viking blood there is the real deal. I've talked in the past about how I would love to go to Norway to see the Northern Lights, the Viking Ship Museum, and they also have really good skiing there as well. And in Denmark, Nyhavn, really beautiful. It's like this one strip, right? And if you go past it, then you get to Freetown, where I was talking about. But Freetown, really cool. Check that out as well. The level, like I said, just the level of consciousness there is like something that like should be admired. And I mentioned how it irritates me that people saying that the Earth is only 5,000 years old. And you know, people that know me know that I have a huge love of Native American culture. And you know, good old boys here used to really be big into arrowhead hunting, and you know, field points, whatever, and you know, a fresh tilled field they would go in, and like on any given day, you could find like several of them in one day. And you know, like you take any strip of land, you know, if you use your mind and kind of think of an area like that would be more prone to having people hunting, I guess, or something like this, maybe near a creek or whatever, then like you know, you have a higher prevalence of finding them. But like you can take any piece of land and like dig and like you find these things, and it's total proof that they were here a lot longer than people that they want, like the history books purvey. Like major conspiracy in my opinion. I have a little side presentation I did on Native American tomahawks. I found them, or they were just around somewhere, and like came across them. Some of them I was actually excavating. Really cool there. I kind of get into this whole thing, and like I said, they just don't acknowledge their presence in the history books. So they just like want to like almost like not like, it's like they feel so bad about what they did that they'd rather just not even acknowledge them than rather to come out and say, oh, all the like basically all your great grandparents, took part in holocausting these beautiful people from the earth, and then like basically killed all, like my great grandfather like killed all the buffalo and all this other stuff, and the people with red hair, they're doing the same thing to them, like just like making them like they don't even exist. And like they have like a lot of them are rhesus negative, like alien, like from a special area in like Scotland or like Ireland, and the Native Americans just lived in absolute beautiful harmony and had the beautiful rituals and just ceremonies and just like the whole thing with the happy hunting grounds. And I personally believe, like I said before, that they had an advanced technology from past worlds and chose to live in beautiful harmony with God's order. There's actually books, maybe someday I'll get, like I have a whole bunch of these books that I've talked about in various presentations, and like in the back of them you can order other books, and there's like this one that talks about like the aliens in the hollow earth, and that would be probably pretty cool and interesting as well. And like some of them, like I said, talk that they actually had higher level technology, and then maybe they came over on the land bridge, during the Ice Age. It's tough to say, but I would love to. It's like the whole premise behind the Bavarian Illuminati too, and I would love personally to go back to living this type of life, to free ourselves from the confines of time and money, with an emphasis on embracing nature. And like this is like a main part of this presentation and theme, and like this could probably get me killed talking about this, and like they don't like people to talk about this, but like all those people out there who say this bullshit that you should be happy just to have a job and a place to live, or like, on Thanksgiving, we're so happy to have this place and this and that and everything else. They're basically pawns for people that are like the ultra rich and elites that have 5 houses and basically been fucking everybody else over for years and years, and their kids too. And they do what they want. They travel the world at their leisure. For like the average person like me, if I wanted to go to like, to California or Texas or whatever, like, I'd have to plan it and save money, and like it would be a big deal. Like I may be able to take a couple of these vacations a year or something like that, if I'm lucky. And to these people and their kids, they just hop on a plane and go whenever they want. And some of them even have their own planes. And like eventually, this is vaccine nonsense, and I see where this is heading, and like it could get really, really crazy. Luckily I'm happy where I live in Pennsylvania. I have the Amish. I know the Amish aren't going to take any crap anytime soon with the vaccines, and half the places I go shopping for groceries, they don't even take cash. So like I'm not that worried about it. We'll make it. We're tough people here. And it's the people in the cities that are probably going to have the problem. But like one thing I don't understand is like how they would possibly require everybody to have vaccines when like you would think that like, if you got vaccinated, then you don't have to worry about like me. It's like it should just be a freedom of choice thing. It shouldn't be like where every single person has to do it. And like, what about people who have already been sick? Like in my final presentation, I'm going to get into the whole thing about what I really think is going on. Like there's definitely like an aspect of the whole virus thing. And like definitely by like secluding yourself from humanity and wearing masks, you're basically like decreasing yourself from herd immunity, and you're going to eventually make yourself way more susceptible if they do start releasing biological pathogens and everything else. But really it's like a deep form of pneumonia, like caused by nuclear, biological, chemical warfare, in my opinion. I don't know why I felt like all this information from all these presentations came to me within a couple weeks. Originally, like I said, I was planning on doing them over the course of like 6 months to a year. I could have done a lot better production value, but I'm actually absolutely ecstatic just how everything came out. I just let it flow, and I want to finish. I have a nice presentation here, and I want to finish up tomorrow, or probably I'll post the other one tomorrow. I kind of wanted to wait till Trump got out, but I'm not giving in to these people. They're not going to win. And the world's awake. When you travel the world, I can tell you, like literally, like if there was a global vote for like the presidential election or like the support of Trump, he would get like 3%, if not less, than the global support. And like out of the 3%, 1% would be his like rich cronies. The other 1% would be people right behind them, ready to be the 1%. And then like the other 1% would be people that are too stupid to even know how to vote. And like I said, so like the people that say this whole thing about like you should be happy, like the truth is, if like if you're a fighter like me, you could make do. You could go pick up some like, and you had like resources. You could go get some water from a spring like I do. You could have a little garden. It wouldn't cost you a few dollars for some seeds, and then like you could go out, like I said, get some sticks for firewood. And you'd be pretty amazed at how, like, if you could not have to worry about paying a car payment, insurance payment, house payment, student loans, like it would just amaze you, like the simplicity that like God intended for us to have. And my little shrine here, I talked about my altar I set up, and like kind of like my own little form of religious worship. I basically dubbed this like my first word that came up in alchemy when I did this. It was crazy horse. I did like dubbed this Crazy Horse Lodge. Someday I would like to think it's in South Dakota. They have a whole like monument. It's supposedly bigger than Mount Rushmore. Probably pretty amazing. But like I guess Chief Crazy Horse is like stood up to the white people. I think they ultimately killed him or he died. But like amazing spiritual energy and the whole persona of Crazy Horse. Definitely look up if you don't know what I'm talking about. It's also kind of like to mock the Freemasons that basically were responsible for the Trail of Tears and blanket every little small town in America. My father once told me, there's a system in place, and you either go with it or you'll be thinned out. I say fuck the system. You're basically at this point you're a moron. If you don't realize the obvious agenda by now. My advice to the youth is don't blow with the proverbial breeze. And adhere to society's rigid standards. Chart your own course and break free from the chains that enslave you. Good friends are few and far between. Most people have an agenda or are motivated by their own personal interests. Like get out of this whole like notion of like I need to do something or have this to impress my friends or whatever. And there's a lot of truth to this. We have breached a paradigm that, as Kennedy would say, is repugnantly irreversible. Future generations are enslaved in debt and will bear the hideous scars subsequent to years of lies, greed, and poor engineering. There's a famous motorcycle club, the Mongols, that have a motto, respect few, fear none. These words I like. Realize that your parents and grandparents are in many cases scumbag pieces of shit that made this bed of lies for you to sleep in. They say learn from your mistakes. I find that truly successful people are able to learn from the mistakes of others as well. Like the real intelligent people not only learn from their own mistakes, but you can actually like see other people that make mistakes and just, learn not to make them. Like a perfect example of this is like having kids out of wedlock. Like some people may be all right doing it if you have money and everything. But it's really not right. It's like not fair to the kids, and like it's very hard in this day and age to be like just you get what I'm saying, to be a single parent. And I know a thing or two about making continuous mistakes. You are the only one that can change your life. Do more with less and embrace a sustainable lifestyle and get out of, like I said, the competitive mind frame that Americans love to embrace. When someone tells you, don't worry, be happy, this should throw up red flags. Worrying is a defense mechanism that's basically put up by your own raised level of consciousness. This world is just a stopping ground. Like it's a sojourning point. Like it's so insignificant in the broader sense, but yet we cling on to these little stupid idiosyncrasies and like pointless things. And you look at all the fighting in the world, and it's nonsense. And you like when you get to the level that I am, you can like really basically see through it and know exactly where the problems are. And right around 2015, I started conceptualizing this theory of everything presentation, and I saw a cloud formation of a huge, grander, 1,000-pound blue marlin being eaten alive by a beast and like maybe like something like the Loch Ness Monster, Nessie, whatever you want to call it. And a lot of these cloud formations that I've seen in the past, like they're open to interpretation. And you know, I see this as like almost like the whole thing is just much bigger than you will ever know. And like that's really what I try to embrace. Also that like basically I believe that this whole American WASP, you know, like white culture is going to be eaten up eventually in time by like Russia, China, and like Europe, like all together in like a like it's inevitable. Like, you know, I'm a white Caucasian, blue eyes, and like for me to have to stomach this, it's not easy, but like it's inevitably going to happen in time. And you know, it like I said, we get transfixed on such insignificant crap. And you know, like what everybody needs to do is just find a sense of purpose, and like don't be an ass catcher to the elites and the waspy Freemasons and like the country club crowd. And you know, like this is what they want you to do to like gain your little status in this world, you know. And basically, like you know, you take it from them, and then like after a while, then you get to like basically be like something of special, like a recognition to them. And like never are you going to be to the level of their kids, or like, you know, the people that are like the controllers of this whole thing. Like you'll never be to that level. But like, you know, you like this whole notion of the corporate ladder, BS as well. And you know, we, like I said, we weren't meant to live and work in cubicles in front of a computer. And you know, I hope this helps answer the first question. You know, why are we here? You know, we need to find a beautiful frequency to radiate, you know, the aura that surrounds us. And, you know, the spiritual energy you carry in this life will emanate and manifest into your future existence. And I like really hope that you embrace those words. You know, like I said, I'm going to say it again. The spiritual energy you carry in this life will emanate and manifest your future existence. Don't look to the government or Wall Street to be your savior. Like I said, do you honestly think, another second question, that, you know, S&P 500 companies need or want your money for investment? They have billions and billions of dollars on the books. They can borrow money for next to nothing. They have their product lines figured out for probably at least the next 50 years in a way to take as much money and manipulate you as much as humanly possible. You know, it's a trap. And by by investing your life savings in 401k in the markets, you subsequently sell your soul to Satan. You know, you realize this notion of the American dream is a fallacy. You know, you will never own real estate at the beach, you know, or New York, or like my dream to buy an organic farm, unless you become a slave to the banks. And, you know, maybe if you save every penny, by the time you're ready to die, you know, you'll be able to afford a condo. I'm going to end here and finish with video number 2. See you in a second, folks.